you ever tried sharing your family history, at that holiday gathering where you're all together and all the research that you've been doing, and the family responds with, total boredom? I have a solution for you, and AI is going to help you turn that boring family history into something exciting that your family wants to hear. So we're not going to write a whole story today. We're just going to write something that's going to grab their attention, because once we do that, then we've got them hooked. So let me show you what the problem is for most genealogists these days. For most of us, we have what I call the magnum opus problem, and that is we are trying to write a family history that is 1,000 pages. Now, maybe we're not trying to write it all at once, but this is what we think has to happen for us to be considered real family historians. We need to produce these massive works with all the records, everything cited, and yeah, basically a doctoral dissertation times 10. And it's a great goal. I'm not going to say it's not a worthy goal, and I think everyone should absolutely document their family history. But the problem is our families like to watch movies and TV shows, and that is what they're used to hearing for stories. So what if, instead of trying to write 1,000 pages of documented family history to make that sound interesting, why don't we start with doing a story that's like a Hollywood movie trailer? Now, stick with me here. I know some of you are already like a little uncomfortable in your seat and you think, she's going to tell me to lie about my family. And I am not telling you that. So let's get into what we are going to do. We'll shrink that. And what we are going to do is this. We are going to pick one ancestor, just one. We are going to pick a moment in their life, a situation, and we're going to use AI to help make the story exciting. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that right now. So this is Google Gemini. It's not ChatGPT. That's a different AI. So I am trying out Gemini these days because it's made a lot of updates, and I want to see how it works. So you're going to get to see how it works here, and maybe you'll like it. And I know a lot of people watching this probably use ChatGPT. So if you do, you can do this exact exercise with ChatGPT. So what I have preloaded here for you is this prompt. And it says that we are having the AI be an expert Hollywood screenwriter and copywriter. Now, a copywriter is a person that's basically good with words that help sell things. Okay, that's a copywriter. You know what a screenwriter is. And we are going to give them the task of taking research notes about an ancestor and write three different movie trailers. So we're going to go for the historical epic movie trailer. We're going to go for the Hallmark holiday movie. And we're going to go for the mystery thriller. I know. You don't know with family. I mean, what's going to happen? So, yeah, and it's got a little bit more here that we wanted to stick to the facts provided, but dramatize the feeling. And then we want to start with a catchy in the world style hook. So if you've watched movie trailers, you know they're quite dramatic. And then it says input data here, and there's nothing after it. So you can either type in all the information, or you could do what I'm doing here, which is upload. So I've got 2 Google Docs here. It could be PDFs, it could be Word files. You can upload anything. And I have one thing called a life map, which is basically a timeline, an enhanced timeline. And this is something that I teach in my Chronicle writing class. And then I have here historical context for Nancy Bloom. Now, before I hit enter on this, or, tell it to go do its work, let me just tell you about Nancy Bloom Curry, okay? Now, Nancy Bloom Curry, hold on to your hats here, was a housewife. Now, housewives, as we all know, do a ton of work, okay? But this isn't a profession or a job or a role that we really think of as exciting. right? Like, let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. If you had to write a story about any ancestor, would you pick your housewives first? Probably not. So that's why I'm doing this as an example. And she was a mom and a housewife from about 1860 to 1889 when she died. So not very long at all, 29 years. And what I have for her is census records and probate records. That's it for records, because this is before vital records were required. This is before there was an established church, and the church records that she went to, was a traveling minister. Those aren't around anymore. She really wasn't in the newspaper. I've checked all the newspapers. And yeah, there's just not a lot. Okay, so let's see what Gemini, this AI, is going to do for Nancy's story. Okay, I'm here in Google Gemini now, and I'm going to hit the enter. Just as a reminder, we've given it this prompt here, and we've given it 2 documents to work from. We've asked it to just work with these and not add in additional information. As you probably have heard, additional information, we call that hallucinations. And some people call it lying. They get kind of dramatic about it. So here's the movie trailers that it's come up with. All right. We've got the historical epic version. I like this. Deep, gravelly narrator voice. In a rugged American frontier defined by the crash of falling timber and the smoke of coal fires, one woman stood as a pillar against the storm. From the wilds of Pike Township in the 1830s, Nancy Bloom Curry was born into a world of harsh winters and isolation. While men floated logs down the Susquehanna River and dug deep into the earth, she fought her own battles on the domestic front, a grueling sun-up to sundown war for survival. She was the mother of 9, she weathered the heartbreaking loss of her children, and watched her parents fade within weeks of one another. So, witness the untold story of Clearfield County's Iron Spirit Nancy. Okay, so just imagine that you introduce Nancy to your family by saying something like this. Now, there's nothing in here that's a lie. There's nothing in here that's deceitful. We just made it sound exciting. So, and it's a fun way to introduce your family to the people in their lives, their ancestors. For our Hallmark holiday movie, we have a sentimental, warm tone. And this time, we're focused on Nancy's life. We've got a house built from simple logs and love. And Nancy found her forever love in Robinson Curry. So life in 19th century Pennsylvania wasn't easy. It was days spent with churning butter, mending clothes by the fire, and canning the harvest for the winter ahead. But in the rolling hills of Bloomington and New Millport, Nancy created a tapestry of family that would last for generations. From the birth of her first son to the arrival of her baby, her home was a hub of resilience and connection. And the Curry family bond remained unbroken. So it's a sweet story, right? So that is another angle that you could take for this movie trailer to get your family interested. And then the last is the mystery thriller, where we're going to have a fast-paced entry. So for this one, they wanted to do a sharp whispered narrator voice. So maybe I'll try to replicate that now. In a world of dusty records and forgotten names, the truth is often buried 6 feet deep. Nancy Bloom Curry lived a life etched into the census records of Clearfield County. She was a mite, a wife, a mother, a widow. But in the yellow pages of history, a shadow emerges. Why did her 2 sons vanish before 1870? What happened in the dark winter of 1889 after her husband died in 83? Nancy's final timeline takes a turn. On a cold November day, she didn't die in her own home. She took her last breath at the house of a man named David Heil. Who was he? Why was she there? And what secrets does the probate file from January 1889 hold? Sometimes to find the truth, you have to dig up the past. The Widow of Clearfield. So this was really fun, right? I mean, seriously, introduce your family to your ancestors with one of these approaches. And Honestly, they're gonna wanna hear more. I wanna hear more, and I've done this research. So give it a try this holiday season or any time of the year. Yeah, have some fun with it. This is the way I picture it. Stand up at that family gathering and say, I have a story, and introduce your family, your ancestor with one of these. And you'll be sure to have everyone's attention and have some fun at the same time. And then you can give them all the research and they'll be like, where's this, all these details? I want to hear more. If you want the full prompt so you can copy paste, go visit my Substack. I have it right there. The link is in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.